true and proud. Ride an iron horse that's free and wild. A biker true and proud. Admitting I'm scared is not allowed. I may not look so mean and tough, but let me tell you so, I'm no powder puff. What it takes to ride, well, I got the stuff. I got what it takes to ride. Got what it takes to ride. Got what it takes to
Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of It's Never Too Late, where we believe it's never too late to have some fun, to start something new, or to follow your dreams.
Or get something to eat.
Oh no!
I like to eat.
All right, you can see why we're steadily putting on more and more weight with every episode. Okay? When you look at the food.
Yeah, I know, it's my fault. Anyway, we're going to Savannah today.
We had some bad weather chasing us.
trash and ski, that's what the people say. Biker, trash and ski, that's what the people say. Deep down in her gut, she was scared, and what the people thought, she didn't care. So eventually she dared.
So here we are in Savannah. We are tired. It was a long day, and now I'm hungry.
And we checked into the hotel, and we didn't want to have to get back on the bikes to go find a restaurant. And we really wanted a good meal that night.
Luckily, right across the street from our hotel was Tony's Steakhouse. The meal was unbelievable. The steak we had was so juicy and tender.
My favorite part was the dessert. When is the last time you saw a banana split for a dessert at a restaurant? It was amazing.
Here we are, acting as tourists. We're at the visitor center
In Savannah, Georgia, and we just we're looking for one. There's a couple of visitor center, so we said, well, let's take the one on River Street. That should probably be pretty. Well, little did we
River
know.
Street's cobblestone, not good on a motorcycle.
Not just cobblestone, like 18th century cobblestone. Like the earth has moved since then, cobblestone, and we couldn't get off the street for a long time. This is what we rode our motorcycles over this morning.
See that? But ballast stones, these were used on cargo ships for ballast. A lot of these stones came from England.
So we found out from the tour guide that the stones that we were riding on this morning with our motorcycles aren't even cobblestones. They're called ballast stones. They used to use them as ballast in the ships, and they were laid that road, he said, around the 1830s, 1840s. Anyway, that's a little bit of history, yes?
There were some cobblestones too, and ballast.
So we finally got off. We found a different visitor center here. I think
With free parking.
With free parking. Old Town Trolley, and we're going to get a trolley, and we're going to take a view of the city. So come on along.
We'll show you what we find.
Yep. So here we are. We have an entire trolley to ourselves.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure there was room for our film crew, but they didn't make it.
We've got the prettiest trolley driver there is.
So sweet. Now you say that, I'm going to keep y'all with me all day.
Here we are at Madison Square Park in Savannah, Georgia. It's not the Madison Square that we're used to.
Not the one in New York, no, but look how beautiful.
This is much better looking.
Oh, I like Madison Square Park in Manhattan. That's very nice too. Ooh! This beautiful monument in Madison Square Park in Savannah commemorates General Jasper, who died during the Revolutionary War. Right near here. We just took a tour of this house. You absolutely have to see this house. The moldings that they have inside, they have pocket windows. The wrought iron was done here in Savannah. This is just a beautiful, beautiful house. This is where Sherman lived. Sherman headquartered here for several weeks Mr. Green, who owned the house, didn't want Sherman to burn it down, so we offered him to use the house and keep his horses here and his servants and use the stables. So that's how this house was saved. It is absolutely magnificent inside. They wouldn't allow pictures. The crown molding, I can't even describe it. I'll see if I can find some pictures we can put up. These front doors are amazing. They're two curved doors at the top, two archways, and when you open them up, they fit into a corner that makes a closet there on both sides.
All right, we're making now.
This is the porch, and we stood right where generals stood. And here are some of the gardens. Yeah.
We're going to eat now.
We are here at Griffin's, spelt a little differently. Let's see if we can tell it into that. Griffin's. And it was an old pharmacy years ago. Solomon's Pharmacy? Yep, this was originally Solomon's Pharmacy. Wow. And it still has the original cabinets, which now hold a lot of books. Very cool place. We like this. And not just because of the name. It was a really good restaurant. And you can see what a beautiful and charming city Savannah is. So rich in history and still beautiful. We are about to be really civilized and have our tea. Oh, that's pretty color. Look at that. How are you liking this, darling?
This is lovely, darling.
There's a side that goes with it.
Oh,
Enjoy.
thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you so much.
Would you like some honey, darling?
Well, maybe just a tad.
With your pinky out. I love it. So what do you think of the tea?
I do believe this is delightful. Oh, splendid, darling. Your check, sir.
How do you like that? They give you your check in a book.
In a book. So you have something to read while you're waiting them to cash you out.
Isn't that fun? And what did we think of the meal?
The food so far in Georgia has been spectacular.
Oh, it was delicious here. Really, really
See?
good.
I'm
Yep.
happy.
He's happy. And they even gave us little chocolate chip cookies with our bill. I love it. This is the Cathedral of St. John's. Here we are for our next destination for a tour, the Andrew Lowe House. Inside the Andrew Lowe House is beautiful. It's decorated and furnished. They didn't allow videos, but they did allow pictures. My particular favorite in the house was the two harpsichords. You can see them here, two totally different styles. They were part of any upper-class house back then, and they were just beautiful.
The furniture in this house was exquisite, and mostly handmade, of course.
This is a portrait of Juliet Gordon Lowe, who lived in this house. She started Girl Scouts of America, and the original building is still in Savannah.
Left is the River Street Marketplace. It's one of the only open-air markets in the U.S. Now on the left here is the Waving Girl. Her real name is Florence Mardis.
So you saw that statue of the Waving Girl? That woman was Florence Mardis. And as a little girl, she waved to every single ship that came into the harbor, and she became known for this. And the sailors would expect to see her there on the shore waving her handkerchief. And the captain started bringing her gifts, and she kept doing it.
For 44 years.
Yep. And what did we hear? We heard a little tale that wasn't quite that story.
Now, what would make somebody start to do that?
As a little girl.
Boredom. At least this is the story that we heard.
We heard that there wasn't much action going on, and she'd see a ship and she'd wave to them, and she became legend.
And then the captains of the ships felt so warm-hearted that they would bring her gifts. So she continued to do it.
44 years. God bless you. Here we are at the city market. Where's your new friend? You reading over his shoulder?
Yeah.
What
Good news. We made it to Savannah. Lyrics, songs. I'll tell you, he's the man.
Johnny Mercer. You just never know who you're going to meet in the old district of Savannah. And now it's off to the Prohibition Museum. Then the drink takes a drink. Then the drink takes you. That's got your... Temptation is the devil. Looking through a keyhole. The making, selling, and transport of liquors in or out of the United States is now prohibited.
Okay.
Bread, not beer. Oh, that's so sad. Picture of the kids scooping up the booze, whiskey gutter, and what would happen is they would confiscate it and they would open it up and they'd spill it into the street, and who's waiting at the end of the street but the kids with cups to scoop it up and give it to their parents.
I ain't got doing, officer. I ain't got nothing. Don't worry about it.
Down here. Ah, the dilemma, wet or dry. You put a quarter in his back and he'll play for 5 minutes. Oh, she looks like a nun I had in grammar school. That's scary. Very interesting. Henry Ford was for prohibition. If booze ever comes back to the U.S., I'm through with manufacturing. I wouldn't be interested in putting automobiles into the hands of a generation soggy with drink. In some ways, he was right. Probably the real reason they withdrew prohibition, because that's where they got all their tax money. Did you know there was Yingling ice cream? 40% of alcohol then was made at home?
Yep.
Well, my grandparents made wine, and they made rock and rye. It was in the basement with all the fruit and the candy. And I know your mother said your family made wine in the basement, right?
Oh, yeah. Grandpa made wine, no doubt. I've made beer.
It's good beer, too.
Oh, yeah.
So as we found out, a lot of people were making their own liquor during the Prohibition years, and our families were just the same. Your grandfather made homemade wine,
Yes,
right?
he did.
And your mom has a great story. You got to hear this story.
Oh, so Mom's chore was to go down and get the wine.
She was a kid.
But Grandpa would never put a spigot on his barrel, so you'd have to siphon it out. And don't you spill into my wine, Grandpa would say. So, once the wine started coming down the tube, my mother was afraid to pull it out of the mouth to spill it, to put it into the jug. So she would drink mouthfuls and stagger up the stairs for dinner.
That's her memory. And basement seemed to be the place because my mom tells the story.
It was a cellar. If it had wine, it was a cellar.
Oh, is that it? It's a cellar?
Yes, a
Oh, I didn't
wine
know there
cellar.
was a basement, a cellar. I don't care what you call it. But my mom lived with her great-grandmother and her aunt, and they had the wine and the rock and rye in the basement, and it was kind of under lock and key in the cabinets. And the rock and rye, Mom explained, had fruit and candy on the top of it, and the kids were always like, ooh, candy, ooh, fruit. So great-grandma slept with the key to the cabinet under her pillow. And one day she was taking a nap and the kids snuck in. There were 5 of them. The kids snuck in. They got the key out from her pillow. They went downstairs and they opened up the rock and rye to get the candy. And my aunt, my great aunt, is listening around and she's going, it's awfully quiet for 5 kids being in this house. So she finally goes down to the basement and she says, there they were, soused, nearly passed out on the floor from eating the candy and the fruit from the rock and rye.
That reminds me of a story my grandfather told us that he spilled some wine on the floor and the dog drank it. He couldn't stand up straight, but not that it was hysterical.
They made strong stuff back then.
The way that you could get alcohol, strictly for medicinal purposes, my dear. One of the many reasons we love Savannah. And little did I know that there was a two-way mirror here and I was being watched doing that.
So there she is, on the other side of the glass, which looks like a mirror from over there. She has no idea that we can see her from this side.
This is the list of drinks you can get at the speakeasy when you go at the tour at the Prohibition Museum. We just saw the Prohibition Museum. Now we're going to have a burger. Whoa, this place is serious. Watch out for the gator. And no kidding, that's a real gator. Show the size of those onion rings. Look at the size of that. We're at B&D's having burgers. We got fries, we got salad, we got burgers. Oh, ice cream he wants now. And look what store my husband found. Oh, this homemade fudge and chocolate and goodies. That's the one I want. So we had a fantastic time here in Savannah. We really recommend it. The historic district is fabulous. Our favorite was the Green-Meldrim House, which isn't even on their map of the city. You got to find it. It's fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful house. So right now we are chasing, or the weather's chasing us, so we're going to leave early to get to St. Augustine where the weather's supposed to be nicer. See you on the road. So here I am at the famous Cathedral Basilica in St. Augustine. This is an absolutely beautiful cathedral. Right across from the Basilica is the old town of St. Augustine with some of these beautiful old buildings and shops, and we're going to take a look at that tomorrow. Good morning! We're here in St. Augustine, and what are we doing today?
Well, we're going to go see the Fountain of Youth. Maybe we can feel a little younger by the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. Definitely want to see that.
It's a beautiful sunny day.
And the old jail. We're going to see the old jail and the oldest store in America. For if you don't know, St. Augustine is the oldest town in America. And they've got stuff dating back to the 1500s.
So we're going to go check it all out.
We're going to check it out.
See you later.
Bye.
St. Augustine, as you know, is a really old town. Look at some of these beautiful old homes. This is just an amazing walk.
This beautiful street right near the Fountain of Youth, we didn't know at the time, was rated one of the 10 most beautiful streets in the United States, and for good reason. All right, we are here at the famous Fountain of Youth getting the water. Check it out. This is the famous Fountain of Youth. How did it taste?
That's good.
I'm going to get me some of that too. And you can smell the sulfur in the water, and you can taste all the minerals. Definitely spring water. All right, we're going to make a wish.
Nickel and a dime.
All right. Okay, here we go.
A nickel and a dime.
All right.
Alrighty, folks, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Fountain of Youth. It appears God and the Catholic Church say it's 11 o'clock, so let's get started. I haven't shot in 3 days, so.
Holy mackerel, look at this.
Okay.
If you like guns or anything that makes loud noises, then the Fountain of Youth is the place for you, where they demonstrate a lot of the old firearms.
You see that?
That's true. And now he's putting in what? That's the gunpowder?
Yep.
And the other stuff he put down that was like
pan.
pellets?
No, it's gunpowder also.
Oh, that's gunpowder also. Inside and in the pan.
I'm going to give a series of 3 commands now. Preparen, oppulten, fuego, ready and fire. If you do not like loud noises, here's the time to cover your ears. Let's see how this goes. Preparen. Oppulten, fuego.
Whoa!
Hit the
It was loud. It was very interesting. Now we're going to see the cannon shoot, but I am going to close my ears for that, so if it's going to get filmed, it's going to be by Chris. You're going to notice he's bringing a whole bunch of moss over there. As with the gun, instead of using packing material, they actually use some of the Spanish moss around here.
España! Fuego!
Whoa! That was cool. There are so many things to do and see at the Fountain of Youth. There are live exhibits, demonstrations, there's even a planetarium. Right now we're going to watch a blacksmith make a nail.
There you are, old-fashioned nail.
Wow, look at that. All of the bird noises you've heard in the background are peacocks who live at the Fountain of Youth. They are absolutely beautiful. Hey guys. We could introduce you to Fred at home. They didn't like that idea. Look what we're getting to see. Is this amazing? Oh my gosh. St. Augustine was the site of the first churches and shrines as well as the first Thanksgiving. This is where the first mission church was. You see the baptismal font. And stairs up to the choir loft. That's where I would have been. Here's the choir loft. And the holy water fonts. This is for my mom. She loves St. Francis. Okay, Mom, it's for you. Here he is, Ponce de Leon. Ponce de Leon was the first explorer to land on our mainland, and he called the entire thing La Florida, which is land of flowers.
All right, well, what a beautiful park this is. And there's a lot of interesting stuff here, especially the history.
Yeah, the Fountain of Youth isn't just the Fountain of Youth water. It's all these demonstrations. What was your favorite of all the
The
demonstrations?
cannonball. The cannon blast.
The cannon blast. I also like when
yeah.
he was explaining the crossbow.
And the blacksmith was good too.
Blacksmith
It's
was
all good.
It was really fabulous.
Planetarium.
You can spend a good 2 hours here before you see all the exhibits and all the demonstrations. So we highly recommend the Fountain of Youth.
Absolutely.
And we'll let you know later if we start feeling younger. Well, you could tell us.
Well, thanks for joining us. We hope you had a lot of fun, because we certainly did, especially when we went to a restaurant to
Oh,
eat.
please, if he talks about food one more time, I'm going to punch him.
I want to eat. I finish eating, I want to eat again.
Oh, my gosh, it's the Italian in him.
I tell you, it ain't easy being me. I got no respect at all. Anyway, next week what we're going to do is finish up St. Augustine, because there is so much to see in that beautiful city.
Yeah, so we'll see you next week. God bless, take care, and remember, say yes to every opportunity.
There was a dream, such a dream, just a staring at me, the stage on which I will be singing my songs. Yes, I know before